just revising some junior cert factorising. Your factorising methods are just skills. Like if I was doing any sport, I would be practicing skills so that I can put them into a match situation. So I wouldn't, like in my everyday life, I wouldn't be practicing soloing a ball for no reason. It goes in a certain situation, so I practice it for that particular situation. So that's it. That's what we're doing here. We're practicing 4 skills so that at some point in algebra, there'll be a situation where I can use these skills maybe to find the missing number. You know, that's what algebra is about. We're trying to find the missing number. So maybe at some point in the future, if I practice these skills enough, I'll be able to use them for some actual purpose in algebra. So we have our 4 methods. We have common factor. I'll always check that one first. Then we have grouping, a trinomial, and then the difference 2 squares. I'm not going to go into huge detail. I hope that you have a fair idea of each one. But generally, if it's not common factor, it should be pretty easy to spot what type of factorising it is. Grouping usually has 4 terms. A trinomial usually has, like it's in the name, 3 terms. And the difference 2 squares, again, is in the name, it should have 2 terms. So let's have a look at just some common factor questions. Let's go for 4ab squared minus 12ab cubed. So numbers that they have in common, well, 4 goes into 4 and 4 goes into 12. The letter is A, and they have a b in common, but they actually both have a b squared. So we take out the highest common factor. So I end up with 1 minus, so 4 times that gives me that, and 4 times what gives me that. Well, 4 and 12 goes 3 times, and b. How would I know if I was right or wrong? I'd multiply it out and I can check. So this is it. This is the skill of being able to factorise it. And the method I used is one of the 4. It's common factor. And I'd know if I was right or wrong if I multiplied it back out. That's what we're doing in factorising. Think about it. If I asked you for the factors of 12, it'd be 2, or, you could even go 3 or 4 things. Some things that multiply to give you 12. So does this multiply to give you this? That's common factor. Grouping. I'm going to just go for a straightforward one because we normally get a lot of practice on grouping. When we do trinomials. So x is in common. I'm left at a plus b. See, there's 4 things in it. That's why I'm saying it's grouping. And y is in common. I'm left at a plus b. A plus b is one factor. See, I know I'm right. And x plus y is the other. So if I want to, then I really should check if it's common factor first. It wasn't common factor. There wasn't something that all 4 of them had in common. So I just moved on to pretty straightforward 4 things. I'm going to guess grouping to start off with. Then you have a trinomial. These are the most important ones. Let's go for x squared minus 3x minus 18. Again, I should check if it's common factor. It's not. There isn't something that all 3 of them have in common. So I am going to look at the first number and the last number. So that's 1 times 18 is 18. Factors of 18. 2 by 9, 3 by 6, etc. You don't have to list these out all the time. But factors of 18, that's subtract to give me a 3. I'll worry about this here in a minute. But I'm looking at the factors of 18 that subtract to give me a 3. I'm looking at these two. So I'm going to put in a 6x and a 3x. And then everything else is the same. And I just have to figure out the signs here. Remember, these 2 lines have to be equal to each other. I'm just rewriting. So that's a minus and that's a plus. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 things. So I'm doing grouping. Now you could also do, I'd say some of you do the box method, which is perfect as well. I just like this method because it's pretty much, I just split the middle and I do some grouping and I have a little check here to know that I'm right. X minus 6 is one factor, X plus 3 is the other. I'll probably do a good few trinomials here on this video because trinomials are the most, I suppose, important or common questions that you'll get. And then we have maybe the difference of two squares. So I'll check if it's common factor. No, it's not. So I'm hoping that it's the difference of two squares, but I need to rewrite things because the difference is the minus and the two squares need to be here. So 25 can be written as 5 squared, a squared, minus 1 can be written as 1 squared. And then I put down my brackets. It's the first minus the second times the first plus the second, or vice versa. You could have that the other way around as well. How would I know if I was right or wrong? I'd multiply it out and I should get back to here. If these are the factors of this, I'd multiply it out and get back to the start. So there are your 4 methods. They can try and make them look slightly differently. They can try and make them a bit more complicated, but really that's what you're looking at.